Welcome back to Talkin Shop with ShopSabre. I'm Brandon, here today with Garrett and Sean Morley.
Good morning.
Hey, I'm sitting across from a better looking beard today, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and you're just thinking of, my 17-year-old was here yesterday.
I know, he
Still
was.
better.
Yeah, your 17-year-old's beard was still better than Jesse. Jesse's still not back. We had a little bit of a snafu. Last week we took a week off because Jesse couldn't get dialed in, and me talking to myself is not as much fun apparently. And then he was supposed to be back for this week's episode, and then his flight got canceled and he got stuck at an airport, had to Uber halfway across the United States, and God knows where he's at this point.
I haven't heard from him.
No, we haven't heard from him.
It doesn't help that he dropped his phone in the ocean, so we can't even get a hold of him.
Get this. The story's great. So he's taking photos and video of his daughter getting knocked over by waves. As he gets knocked over by a wave.
There you go.
He's making fun of her and taking video, recording her getting knocked over by giant waves. And in about a foot of water, Jesse gets taken out by a wave, and now his phone is hanging out with Rose's necklace down in the bottom of the ocean.
My phone! I dropped my phone!
So we don't have a phone.
I lost my wedding ring down there last time,
So we got
it's next to that.
Rose's necklace, Sean's wedding ring, and Jesse's phone. This is going well. But yeah, so he's not back from vacation yet. But Garrett, you went on vacation.
I did.
And you made it back.
I made it back.
That worked out well.
Yeah, my flights landed and left safely.
Look at that. Yeah, I got a message from Brianna this morning, Jesse's wife, and they're attempting to get through security again this morning, because the last time they went through security, their flight got canceled. And they got stopped for a bag search.
Good times.
Apparently, Kinley was smuggling in frosting in her bag. Guess it looks a little illegal.
See, I would have put money on Jesse on that.
I would have too, exactly. I'm like, frosting, it's got to be Jesse. Nope, wasn't. But, I've just been, living the single mom life back here at the office, Jesse hasn't been anywhere to be found.
Sorry, the plane was delayed.
So I had to do this all by myself, so we figured we better get Sean in here because I can't do this alone.
Happy to help out.
Well, we appreciate you being here. So last week we talked a little bit about the 5 reasons your shop needs a CNC. And I felt like the response was, 2 weeks ago, I should say. It was 2 weeks ago we talked about 5 reasons. But I felt like the response was pretty good. But this week I thought we should talk a little bit, let's try this again. Let's talk a little bit about the power of marketing. And Sean, you're really good at marketing, aren't you?
No. No, you got to hire somebody for that.
Yeah, so I gave Sean the topic yesterday as we were walking out of the office, and Sean looked at me and goes, "Well, I don't know what I'm going to talk about on this one." So no, but when we're being a little bit more serious about this, marketing is important for any business. Obviously, you have to think about your marketing, and you have to think about the power of your marketing and what you're doing.
And how much it's changed.
Right. What continues
from when
to
I
change.
started my company, it's changed just drastically.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's why I chose this topic, because the world, in the world today, as things get more expensive, people begin to look for alternative options to cost, right? And this is where people good at marketing gain some traction. And those who do not do any marketing tend to get hurt. And I guess for me, that's a big part of it, because marketing can be good and bad. There's some really good marketers out there. They're really good at doing marketing, but they're not very good business people. I'll be honest with you, their products aren't very good, or their intentions aren't very good. There's people that do a lot of marketing with the intention of misleading people. That is their goal of their marketing, is to mislead you and make you believe something that's not true. And
they
that
just
can
want to sell a product.
Correct. That can get you in a lot of trouble really fast, because as a consumer, especially right now, as we're dealing with $6 a gallon gas, and we're dealing with supply shortages and all this stuff. You got some companies out there that are advertising in stock items, and they're doing some of this stuff, and it's like, as a consumer, it sounds great, right? Finally, something in stock. But if you take a step back, you have to look at it as why. Why are things in stock right now? Like, that's the marketing there. Like, they're doing something that is not exactly on the up and up, in my opinion. There's a lot of things right now where the market's too busy. The world's too busy. There's no reason why there should be the oddball out, right? Nobody's immune to the world's problems right now. So if they are immune to those problems, then something's different, and that's where I think from a marketing perspective, we got to look at that. And I guess let's start with that. I guess when you guys think of marketing, when I say talk about marketing, what comes to mind for you? I guess, Garrett, what do you think of usually?
Well, that's kind of a loaded question considering I went to school for a few years learning strictly about advertising marketing. So there's a lot that goes into that, but I mean, from a definition standpoint, I think marketing is just about advertising your business to sell, or advertising your products to help grow your business and sell your products. So I mean, there's a whole realm of stuff that goes along with it, but it's promoting your products.
Yeah, my first thought's advertising.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, marketing to me is, any form of advertising, like you were saying, any form of getting your brand name, product, whatever it is out there. And marketing isn't just selling a product, in my opinion. Marketing is advertising a brand, is advertising a service, is advertising who you are. I mean, let's be honest, like when you look at sports figures, right? Sports players or sports teams, they all have marketing departments, and a sports figure still has marketing. You look at guys, who sell homes. There's a lot of real estate agents that they market themselves. They're not necessarily marketing their business. They're not marketing who they sell for as much as they're marketing who they are as a person, so people want to come to them. So, it's all about getting yourself out there and brand awareness. And, the importance of this is related to the growth of your company or product. But also deception as a consumer is something we should talk about. It's something that I really think needs some attention. Many people in marketing, think marketing is just a great thing, right? But there's good and bad marketing, and you have to be very careful of that. And you have to be careful of what you're watching happen, because a lot of these companies out there right now, especially when products are coming in overseas right now, these companies are marketing as U.S. made products that aren't necessarily U.S. made products anymore.
For sure, we've seen that a lot.
Yeah, we've seen it a ton. I mean, there's a lot of products out there that, I know you ran into it with your business recently where you had some material.
Yeah.
That was,
I think we talked about that for briefly the last time I was on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where they just swapped a material out that we had no idea what it was.
Yeah, exactly.
It's recycled rice husks.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not the same as MDF.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's the problem is it's all marketing. You can sell anything off, but the reality is the truth and the facts still, will ultimately come through. But unfortunately for a lot of people, if they don't do the research, it comes through a little too late. And that's the difference in what we do here. When ShopSabre markets something, we market using, facts. That's really how we've always run our business, is based on the facts. We want to give you stuff that you can fact check. We want to give you stuff that you can, actually go through and look at the specifications and look at the diagrams. But not every company's that way. There's a lot of companies that are very hidden and secretive.
And unfortunately, it's gotten more of that. You got to do more of your own research every time you see an advertisement now.
Correct.
Especially in this day and age.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so think about that. As business owners that are out there listening right now, think about what your competitors are doing. You have to advertise accordingly. You have to market to overcome those things. Because if you're not, the consumer doesn't know what to believe. And let's be honest, if somebody's doing advertising and all they're hearing is this one thing, and if nobody's fact checking them, they're going to tend to believe that stuff, right? So as a business owner, it's your responsibility to do your own advertising. And I think the worst advertising, in my opinion, is guerrilla advertising. It's where you're going out there and being really aggressive and attacking everybody else. I don't like that advertising. To me, that's the wrong kind of advertising. If you have to use somebody else's name to advertise your product, you're probably doing something wrong.
Yeah, I would agree. And it's like my least favorite comedian. They just go out and rip on other people.
Yeah.
Makes it easy.
Yeah, exactly. To me, and that's exactly it. It's that kind of, it's super easy to gain traction off of somebody else's, performance. But
you're really not talking about your product at all.
No, you're not selling yourself. You're not selling what you do. You're basically selling against somebody else. And I've always said, and I've trained sales guys like this forever, is that it's not our job to not sell our competitor's product.
I always think, what's a company hiding if that's what they got to do?
Correct. Yeah.
If they can't talk about how good their product is, and they just talk about how bad other people are.
Yeah.
Well,
they always say a magician's
what do they got to hide?
Exactly. Yeah. A magician's best trick is deception. And I feel like that's what that is in marketing. If somebody's so concerned about talking about the other company or using the other company to get you to talk to them, then they probably aren't bringing a lot to the table.
Right.
Like I have never, as a company, we've never went after other companies' names in our ads. In fact, we purposely do not use companies' names in our ads. We don't use products in our ads like that are not something we're selling. We purposely will always refer to it as the competitor, the competition. I don't need to piggyback off their name. It's not who I want to be. Like if you aren't looking for my product specifically or our type of product, then you're probably not our customer. I don't need to go try to steal customers, and to me, I think that's where marketing can really be good and bad. What's good about marketing is it drives business. It brings brand awareness and it improves your sales, it improves your service. Well, you're not going to improve brand awareness by using somebody else's brand, right? I mean, You're just helping their brand, but what's bad about marketing is it can mislead people sometimes. It can drive people to, believe something that's not true, and then that only hurts your reputation long term. It can hide facts or truth. It can make decisions harder. I mean, there's a lot of companies out there that's their sole, goal is to go out and cloud the water up, make it harder on you to make a factual decision because they know if you have the facts, they're not going to buy their product.
For sure.
So there's companies out there that their entire marketing team's goal is to confuse you, the consumer.
Yeah, or hide the facts.
Yeah, think about that. Like, Garrett, you deal with it in a day-to-day stuff. We have to deal with that head-to-head a lot of times where literally there's people out there that on the internet, and we call them trolls, right?
Yep.
Who go out there and they try to come up with ways to come up with objectives, right? They come up with reasons why something couldn't be true, right? Even though they don't know, well, that can't be true, right? Well, why can't it be? And then they come up with these bizarre reasons, right? And then you and I deal with it all day long. Like, what? Wait, what? Is that a real thing? Like, people just throw stuff out there hoping that somebody will read it and believe it, and gain traction from it.
That's social media for you in
Yeah.
this day and age.
Which only makes your decisions harder as a consumer. It doesn't make your job easier to come up with something because now you don't know what's true, what's not. I mean, think about this. If you go back 10 years ago and you saw a story on the internet, the likelihood of that story being untrue was a lot less. There's a lot of credible sources on the internet. You could go get a lot. I remember in high school, it was like how you did your research on everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, now it's like you really have to fact check your facts.
Now you find an advertisement about something and you spend an hour researching it to see if it's accurate.
Correct. Absolutely.
And then you hope the research you find is true.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes it pretty tough.
Yep.
Yeah, it makes honest people work harder, right? That's really what
good.
the goal of bad marketing is right there. Is that their whole entire goal is to make honest people work too hard. It's not that they're trying to make, it better for the consumer. They're just trying to make it harder on everybody else so that way the other people give up on trying to, compete against them.
Confuse you.
It confuse you, exactly. Yeah, it's just that, and I just hate it. I just hate everything about that. Like I said, normally when we talk about marketing, we talk about things you can do for your business and how you can. We already did that in another episode as we talked about this stuff. But I think in today's episode it was more about we have to talk a little bit about this world we're in today and how to be aware of some of the things going on out there. It's easy. I've had it. We've had people call us up and say like, "Oh yeah, your prices are higher than your competition." Well, I should be. My competition isn't building the product I'm building.
Nope.
I don't expect to be their prices. Like if you're just looking at the price tag alone, like you're probably not the consumer that we're going after. No offense, but we're not for everybody. And I've told everybody that. Like we are a specific product. We're a very premium product. Our product brand has a very, high shelf life. Our product brand is very well known. Our reputation is very good. And it's because of the fact that we don't cut corners to sell our product.
And it's made right here.
Yeah, and it's made in the U.S. So that
I can hear it being made right now.
yeah, exactly. Right through that wall right there behind us. Yeah, you can hear all the crazy noises going on out there. But no, you're exactly right. That's the difference is that there's so many people out there that think every product should be the same. Right? And it's not. Like, that's the difference. This isn't like driving to Menards and picking up a extension cord. Most extension cords, for the 90% of them, are built exactly the same, right? Different color, different name on it.
Yep.
CNC machines aren't like that.
No.
Like, they can't be. Like, the reality is, like, there's technology that goes into these. Different technologies for different companies. And, yeah, there are cheaper solutions out there. and unfortunately, cheap solutions typically breed cheap results.
Corners are cut.
Yep. Or in some cases, you don't get to cut the corners.
Or you
because-
don't get to cut the corners.
because it
Or
doesn't
they're
run.
not, actual corners.
Yeah, or they're not corners because they didn't make a square corner.
Go in a circle. Go in a circle.
But no, that's exactly it. Like, and we've seen it, unfortunately. I mean, we've all seen it. But when you're looking at marketing in a negative form, sometimes your competitors will say things they're doing like, just to look like you. Like, hey, we're doing just like so and so does with their cabinet shop. We're doing it just like Sean and his cabinet shop down there. But the reality is they're not using the same quality material.
No, they're not.
Or they're not taking the time to actually develop the product the way you are. They're buying a store-bought thing versus something they actually developed in-house, so the quality isn't always the best.
And usually when you use someone else's name like that, it's for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when they say, we do stuff just like Lakes Area Custom Cabinetry, they're not saying it because Lakes Area Custom Cabinetry does bad things, right? They're saying it because they know Lakes Area Custom Cabinetry carries some substantial weight, so we do it just like them to try to gain traction there. To me, it's not a very good form of marketing because you're telling me that Lakes Area Custom Cabinetry does great, you should buy from them, but if you don't buy from them, you should buy from me.
Yeah,
Right?
we see it a lot. I mean, our biggest issue is with, box cabinet companies.
Yeah.
And the quality of their cabinets, it's just not there. Do they look pretty on the outside? They sure can.
Yep.
And if you look at them in a showroom, the showroom is built for the cabinets, not the other way. They're perfectly done because
Yeah.
the size is right. But, when your buddy comes over and puts his knee through the 1/8-inch back on the island, people aren't as happy.
Yeah. It's weird how when your buddy's knee is halfway through your cabinet, you're
Yeah.
suddenly not as happy as you were the day you started.
How would that happen?
Yeah. But that's the false side of things right there, is that we do it just like they do it. But they may not be using the same quality of, paint or finish or material thicknesses or, there's so many things that you don't see from the outside. And that's the difference in marketing. We see it a lot of times where people say, oh yeah, just like them, we build the frames just like them. But the wall thickness on the tube is half of what we're using. So is it just like us? No, they're mimicking us, but it's not the same. Or we build just like them, but they use rack and pinions and a ball screw. Is that just like us then? Well, no. Like they're not building it just like us, and that's the thing that people tend to overlook. And maybe they don't make things out of as heavy as material, and which will affect you. Maybe they use a knockoff brand. That's the other thing that you'll see sometimes is two companies head to head using the same product, right? We both use this material, but the additional equipment that's needed to make those materials work, like in our case, spindles, right? We have spindles. We all use the HSD spindles.
Right.
So people automatically assume that like, oh, they're using HSD, you're using HSD, it's the same. But nobody takes into consideration that there's a VFD that has to run that spindle. That not everybody's using the same quality VFDs there. And they don't think about the wiring that actually runs all of that stuff. There's costs that can be cut there behind the scenes that, well, your
Absolutely.
spindle's $200 more than their spindle. Yeah, well, there's a reason for it because I'm also using a better, VFD. I'm using a better drive. I'm using a better, power wire. I'm using all this other stuff that they're not using. Wire management. They're just cutting the corner because they know you're going to look at the brand spindle. You're not going to think about the things behind the scene. And the same thing could be said in cabinets, right? Yeah, you're both using the same thickness of materials and they're both using Baltic birch. But, and I just throw out Baltic birch. It's probably not even a real material you use, to be honest with you, Sean. I'm just throwing numbers or names out there. But
That's why you're the marketing guy.
yeah, that's
and
why the
I'm
marketing
camera
guy. No, but exactly. I mean, you use whatever materials you use, but the reality is it could come down to the finishes you guys use as well.
You can.
I mean, right? The paints that you guys are putting on there, the primers, whatever that you guys are utilizing.
Yeah, I mean, if you just want white paint, I could go to Menards and slap it on too.
Correct. It probably looks good day one, right?
And it might look good, just might not last.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the difference. Is like, and that's some of the stuff people I think overlook here is that when you're building a quality cabinet, the finish matters, but the finish is going to add cost to your job.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, honestly, what do you think the variable is in finishes? I mean, do you think it's a 20% swinging price, 30%? I mean, what do you think?
I would say it's more than that.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So from a quality finish to a crappy finish, you'll be seeing.
It could be a lot more.
See?
Yeah.
So think about that right there. I mean, that's in your cabinets.
It's how it's done too.
Yeah.
To hire somebody that's quality. Costs more money,
Exactly.
like anything else, but it gets done right the first
Yep.
time.
No, exactly. And that's exactly it. And it's I've always explained, like, I work on my own cars. Obviously, I work on race cars. I do that. I consider myself pretty capable when it comes to that stuff. I've wrecked a lot of them, so I'm getting pretty good at fixing them. But in all seriousness, there's certain jobs I will not tackle. I've been doing this a long time. There's a point where I can be the backyard mechanic and I can tackle certain jobs, right? And I can accomplish things. There's certain jobs when I see it, like, yeah, I probably can do this, but it's going to be, for lack of a better phrase, it's going to be half-assed.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the way that it would be with a professional. So there are cases where I hire somebody in to help me do something right. Because I know, yeah, it's going to cost me a little bit more money, but in the long run, it costs me way less. Because doing it wrong is going to force me to do it twice.
Doing it wrong gets really expensive.
It does. There's a phrase out there that I like to use called, we do it nice because we do it twice. Like, you don't want to do it twice. It's not a good way to do it, because if you do it wrong the first time, it's going to have to get done right eventually. And so now you have to undo everything you did and start over and do it all over again, right?
Yep.
That's not a great way of going about things.
I've had clients do that
Yeah.
where they wanted to save on finishing.
Yeah.
Hire a cheaper person, or in one case they said they'll do it themselves.
Ooh.
That got really expensive when they called and needed all new cherry doors.
Yeah. That's not nice.
No.
See? We do it
I
nice.
felt bad for them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the worst part is you do, like, as humans, we feel bad, right? Like, I get those calls from people like, oh, I bought so-and-so's machine and it doesn't work. And oh my God, my business is struggling. Like, I feel bad as a person. Like, I want to help you.
Yeah.
But then at the
I
same
get
time,
those calls
Yeah.
of your clients.
Yeah, but then at the same time, yeah,
I bought
exactly.
this machine and it doesn't do what they said it would.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, we've openly told people, call people, because, yeah, they call you and they say, I bought so-and-so's machine, doesn't work, blah, blah, and you have to explain to them what your machine does do. And then they end up calling me up, well, okay, Sean was showing me, yeah, his machine does what my machine won't do, so how do I get into one of his machines? Okay, no problem. Like, this is what you're going to need. Well, can you do any better for me? Because, I already spent money on this. Like, that's not really my responsibility to overcome the fact that you spent the money on the wrong product.
Right.
But it does put you in an awkward position because as a business owner, you want to help. You want to be that guy that helps out. And obviously, Garrett, you deal with it on the marketing side, right? Mm-hmm. You see people posting pictures of things, and people openly admit it. Like, man, I wish my machine could cut like that when you post pictures of things,
Yep.
And I think it says a lot about our product quality, and that's where those costs come from. I think in a world where we've just become so accustomed to everything should be the same price that when we see a 10% variance in price, some people lose their mind. 10% isn't that much when you think about it for a quality difference, for a support difference. I'll spend 10% more.
Well, the support alone.
Yeah. Like,
Well, even right now, you kind of expect pricing increases.
Well, yeah, right
Fast
now.
food, groceries, anything is just more expensive.
It's crazy right now, the increases in prices right now. I mean, we get vendors that call us every 30 days to change their price.
Yeah, that's fun for me.
Yeah. How's that going for you over there with those price changes?
Probably another one today coming.
It's worse in the lumber industry, so
True.
it's almost a
A daily.
daily thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen it. I mean,
Yeah.
I actually have a little slide here in front of me that there was a steel increase. Looking at prices, when we were looking at the cost of steel, and I think this is something that people tend to forget. But on like March 17th, I was looking at it, and there was a 1.82% increase on the 17th. The 18th, there was another 1.25. The 19th, 0.90. And then it went 0.26. Then it dropped by 0.7, dropped by 1.5. Then it went back up 0.5, 0.7, 0.8, 38.6% on March 30th. Think about that. As a business owner, you're trying to build, in our case, industrial equipment using steel. And steel went up 1%, which you can absorb, right? You can absorb 1% changes sometimes. It dropped 0.7%, dropped another 1%, went back up 0.5%. I mean, that kind of stuff is like, okay, I can live with that. But then overnight, it changes 38.6%.
Yeah.
How does a company not change their prices when steel goes up 38.6%?
What happened for that? Something had to have caused that big of a spark. What
Correct,
was it?
but that's the problem is that these are these price increases, and that's why April 1st when people were like, hey, prices are going up. And people are like, it was just yesterday. You can't afford to hold this price longer. This is why when people say no, they can't.
Yeah.
Because yesterday I could because it was a 0.1% increase. Today it was a 38% increase. There's marketing at its finest, right?
Yeah, just last week I was talking to one of my lumber reps. He was telling me a story of one of his clients that had a house going up on a nice lake around here. His truss package jumped $20,000 in a month and a half.
Isn't that crazy?
And so, who absorbs that?
Yeah.
He's already gotten the approval from the client, So then it becomes a conversation of who's going to take this 20 grand?
Yeah.
Or how do I get my client to take that?
I have to share a funny story with you guys. My phone just went off here. It's a message from Brianna Barker.
Jesse?
Brianna Barker.
Where are they stuck now?
Does the plane work?
I'll read it to you guys here. This is for the viewers. You guys will appreciate this. Stuck on the tarmac. Flights delayed due to weather. Trying to secure a rental car in Chicago in case we miss our connecting flight. Oh, this is too good. This is a vacation that never will end for them.
Yeah.
All I wrote back was, see what happens when you take vacations? Oh,
No,
man.
not to me.
Yeah, well.
Yeah,
Yours
I
is
didn't,
coming.
I didn't get stuck in Mexico.
Yeah, it never happens like that, does it?
No.
Never get stuck in Mexico.
I was kind of hoping I would.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
it doesn't get stuck at the airport.
apart from all the work I needed done, but
Nope.
Careful what you wish for.
He got stuck in. He got stuck. Yeah, true. Careful what
I
you wish
could have
for.
taken another 10 days at an all-inclusive resort. It would've been
Yeah, there
all
you
right.
go. No, he got stuck at Atlanta airport, and then he Ubered to Tennessee to try to grab a different flight, and then his flight gets delayed on the tarmac, and now
They were so close.
so close, so close. Mind you, he's doing this with his 3 kids.
So then they went from Tennessee to Chicago.
That it sounds like they made the drive from Florida to Atlanta, got canceled at the
I mean,
airport
they
in
could have
Atlanta.
just drove home.
Couldn't get a rental car. That was the problem. They tried to drive home from Atlanta, no rental cars because there was 1,000 flights that were canceled.
Oh, that's good times.
Yeah, good times. So they couldn't do that. So then he got on an Uber, Ubered to Tennessee, which I can't imagine what the cost of that Uber was.
How far is that?
I don't know. But then he, in Tennessee, gets in through the airport, cancel. It looks like delayed now on the tarmac, and he's supposed to fly from Tennessee to Chicago and Chicago to Minneapolis.
Atlanta to Tennessee is a 3 to 4 hour drive minimum. So that's
They better get on that mega bus.
I can't imagine
yeah.
what. And they needed an XL. They got 5 people. Plus
Yeah.
the driver's 6.
Oh, man.
I bet that was a $500.
I can't
ride.
wait
Good
for
thing
next
it wasn't
week's
me
episode.
and my, what do I have, 96 kids?
Yeah,
Is that what you
96 kids you have, so
Yeah.
you guys would have had to take a trailer.
It's-
You guys would have had to rent a semi.
It's a
School
good
bus.
thing.
No, they use those cattle trucks. That's what he would have done. He would have had all his kids in the cattle truck. But yeah, no, I can't wait for next week's episode. I think next week's episode will be traveling with Jesse.
15 minutes of entertainment.
Yeah, we're just
Start
gonna
out.
call next week's episode "Traveling with Jesse." Oh man! So I'm sorry to derail the topic, but when I got that text message, I had to read that one here for you guys.
That's pretty good.
But
It's comedy.
yeah, but anyway, so back to what we were saying. But no, it's exactly with regards to marketing. Marketing is really a good and a bad thing in both ways. But the other thing is you start running into these things with these price increases and changes, and companies take advantage of that. They see this stuff happening, and these cheaper products out there try to take advantage of you and your want to keep prices low. They understand that you are more vulnerable because prices are on the rise, and everybody is more vulnerable when the prices are on the rise because they're going to look for ways to save a buck. And so they'll start considering cheaper machines and cheaper products and cheaper cabinets and cheaper finishes. And some companies out there to get your business will have no problem selling out on quality. They will sell out on quality for that low price and
The
try
hard
to
part
get your
right now
business.
is it's easier for those companies to hide that.
Correct?
Because with the shortages of so many
Yep.
materials and different things,
Yeah.
there's companies out there just say, well, sorry, we can't get that.
Yeah.
So this is what
It's an
we
easy
have to
cop-out.
use. And yet they're still raising the price. They're buying a cheaper product,
Yep.
but the price is, they
Correct.
find a way to rationalize that.
And they're
Yeah.
going back. Now
Yeah.
that they got those cheaper products, they're not going to go.
They're not gonna
Okay,
switch it back.
we better go back to a let's
Or I
cut
should-
more into our profits and get a better product. No, they're going to keep going down that same path.
A lot of people are not going to switch back.
Correct. And that's the downfall right there, is that this is a cycle. And I'm going to be honest. Like, this is the same cycle we went through 10 plus years ago when I watched the same thing happening, where prices were on the rise. Things were, I mean, the prices are a lot higher right now than I had seen back then. But, obviously a lot of things are on the rise over 10 years. But my point is like, it's the same thing. It's a cycle. It's what brought import products into the United States 10 plus years ago, made it really, really popular. And then 2 years from now, when they all start to fail, it's what's going to drive American made back up.
Yeah.
It's the same cycle that happens all the time. And so people who are willing to buy quality products now won't find themselves in the rebuying stage in 2 years, or won't find themselves at the mercy of failed products and, their company reputation on the line. But people who are falling for the marketing and are cutting corners and doing the things that aren't going to be a long-term solution find themselves in 2 years in a much worse spot. And that's why, as a company, we're not that company. We are going to continue to build in the United States here. We're going to continue to do what we do. We're going to continue to market the way we market. We're going to continue to show off what makes us so much better. And we're going to continue to raise prices as necessary to continue with the quality and service we offer. It is what it is. And like, at the end of the day, I'm not going to sell out on our reputation for one more sale. It's not worth it.
No, you're going to keep your integrity.
Correct. I mean, you've seen it, John. You've been with us for 10 plus years. You've obviously owned multiple products from ShopSabre. You've seen the service and the quality, and we've never been a company to throw out quality or service to make a buck.
No.
I mean, in fact, you've seen it in person at trade shows when people come up to me and they talk to me about, I got this cheaper product that'll help you guys. I've told them to get out of my booth.
One of my favorite things at the shows
Yep.
is the hours. We show up and the hours some of these other companies are there trying to get their machines to cut right.
Yeah.
And the piles of scrap that are sitting out in the aisle that disappear before the show starts.
Yeah.
That who they're trying to sell to doesn't get to see.
Correct.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
if everybody could see that.
That's what I was just going to say, is you're kind of fortunate because you've been kind of lucky enough to join us on some of these shows, and you get kind of backstage access. You get to see things that most consumers do not get to see. You get to see like really what goes into making a show happen. And as you're doing the setup time, the
And
marketing.
not just that, some of the things people will say,
Yeah.
To what they think is just another guy working the show
Correct.
is it's unfortunate, really.
Yeah. Because they don't know that you're a consumer. They think
Right.
you're just an employee of another company. They don't,
Right.
because let's be honest, when we're setting up and we're getting booths ready, none of us are wearing our company stuff.
Right.
It's a dirty, nasty day. It's not fun. I mean, the heat in
You're just another guy.
Yeah, the heat in those buildings are ridiculous. They don't have the ACs on for the setup days, and you're in Vegas. So it's 100 plus degrees in these buildings. You're dying. So nobody wears nice clothing. So they just think, yeah, you're a hired setup guy to help them out. And literally, you'll hear other companies' technicians come up and say stuff that they think they're talking to another technician who doesn't care. They don't realize that at ShopSabre, it's hands-on people. Like, we're really hands-on. Like, the sales guys, the actual customers, we're all busy doing our setup. That's right. And the beauty of our setup, I mean, you have to admit, Sean, our setup takes half a day,
Yeah, it's not bad.
right? 3/4 of a day, maybe?
And that's setting up, what, 4 machines
Four
last
machines
time?
last time. Yeah, as I said, we did 4 machines last time, and it took us, I think, 3/4 of a day to set it all up.
Yep.
And then that's the beauty. I always love it. We get there, on our setup day, because these shows have like dedicated setup days. You have to be there on whatever day to get your stuff in. The problem is, for us, our setup day is always like 4 days before the show starts. So we get there, and the first day we don't even bother unpacking our stuff.
Just get it to your spot.
Yeah, we literally get it to our spot, and then we walk around. Like, we don't rush, because we know that if we rush, we're just going to be sitting around for 3 days. So we get it to our spot, and then, we kind of walk around for that day. And then the next day, we obviously unpackage everything, inspect everything, make sure everything is okay. And then, once we get that, we get it set up. And then usually the next 2 days, our booth is completely ready to go. We're spending little times organizing things, and we're not doing a lot. I mean, we do usually 1 test cut per machine, 2 maybe.
We just got to make sure it doesn't get messed with by someone else.
Well, there is that. We found that. Honestly, it was funny because I was talking about marketing. I mean, we had companies that were from overseas crawling around our machines with cameras trying to take pictures of our designs.
We've also had companies from overseas that have hung giant American flags in their booth.
Yeah. Yeah,
To
we
try
watched
to
it. We watched
promote.
them do it. Yeah. We watched them do it, literally. I mean, and that's, again, marketing, right?
Didn't the organizer make them take that one down once?
Yeah. Yep. The one show we were at, there was a guy who, clear as day, I mean, all their crates said imported from China. I mean,
Yeah.
everything said it on it. And yeah, they go up and they're hanging American flags all the way around their booth. And the booth organizer went over and said, yeah, you can't do that. Like, it was so obvious that they weren't, coming out of, America. But they're literally doing that. And unfortunately, not every one of them gets caught. I mean, we've seen them. We had a booth right next to us 2 years ago. Guy's equipment comes out of another country, and he was openly telling people he's made in America. We heard him saying it.
Absolutely.
Like, we would stand next to his booth and hear him say it, and then they'd walk into our booth and be like, "Well, what makes your machine better than his machine?" And we'd look him right at him and say, "Well, he's not really made in America."
Well, yeah, he is. He told me he was.
Yeah, he just told me he was, and then we'd show them the picture of
And-
the
and
crate that
that's
said
that's
"Made in
where
America" or
it's,
"Made in China."
Now I got to do more research to
Yep.
be sure I'm being told the right thing.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. That's the worst part about it. They look at you like you're a liar,
Right.
They look at you like you're the one misleading them, and it's like, no, we're just trying to get the facts out there. So that's the stuff you have to be aware of in business. Is that
And I dealt that when I was just there in July for looking at edge banders.
Yeah.
We dealt with that.
Yep.
One of the companies we looked at, they have American-made machines,
Yep.
and come to find out the one I was comparing is not. It's made in China.
Well, that's exactly it too. There are some of these American
But the
companies.
company's from America.
Correct. I was just gonna say that there are some of these companies out there that they have two levels of machines, right?
Yep.
They have their American-made stuff, and then they have their import stuff. And again, that's okay if you're going to be honest about it. That this is my import stuff and this is my made in America stuff. But don't ride your American-made coattails
Right.
with your import stuff. You
Well,
have to be honest with
I
it.
don't know why you would even mix clean water with dirty water there, because
It's a marketing thing. Again, it goes back to, again, if you want to open yourself up to that clientele, right? There's clients out there that are going to shop on price. Well,
but you're ruining a good reputation you could have because of.
but if you're being honest, you probably aren't. You know what I'm saying? Like, your reputation is only as good as what you say it is. So if you tell somebody they're buying something imported, like, you're not hurting your reputation at that point. You're telling somebody flat out. But the problem is that's what nobody will do. Nobody's going to go out and, none of these companies are going to tell you, like, oh, that's a Chinese product,
Well, there's a lot of people that are fooled by
Yeah.
a company that has a U.S. address,
Mhm.
and everything's being imported,
Yep.
maybe assembled here,
Yep.
but they look at they're right here. They're in they're in America. They're
Yeah.
over in California.
Most companies have a U.S. address.
a
That's
lot,
the thing.
a lot of them do.
Yeah. And that's the problem right there, is that you see it on equipment, right?
Deception.
You see that Made in America sticker, right? You see that Proud USA sticker. People hanging the U.S. flag. They do this stuff, right? You don't see it as proudly of the other countries, right? You don't see people proudly displaying like this is made in Taiwan, right? Proudly made in,
Not very
China.
often.
You just don't see it. I mean, and it's not that Taiwan, China, Korea, wherever is worse, but I think it says a lot that you're not as proud to say it's made in Japan, it's made in Germany. You don't see that stuff as frequent, and it kind of makes me wonder, like, why is that?
It's not as prominent.
Correct. I mean, when you look at products, you see if a company is made in the U.S., they're proud to usually say made in the U.S., right? If they're made in one of these other countries, regardless, China, Germany, Italy, where you don't see the proudly made in Italy, right? You just don't see it. It's marketing. People give more weight to made in America. Therefore, people want to promote that. They want to show that off. But you don't see it as much elsewhere, so then people aren't as proud to show that stuff off. Well, to me, if you're proud of your product, you should be proud of wherever it's made, right?
Right.
That to me is marketing right there. You should be proud to advertise what you're doing and why you're doing it. Mm-hmm. There should be a reason why you're doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's engineering, it's support, it's whatever it is. That should be your marketing tactic, right? It shouldn't be because it's not what somebody else is doing, right? Like,
Right.
oh, I'm not doing what they did. Like, well, then that's not good marketing. You're just riding the coattails of somebody else. But like I said, many companies mark up items that you can't fact check. That's one thing that I found in marketing that I think is the biggest thing, is that they mark up items that you can't fact check, and then they put lower prices on the common knowledge items. Example of this is going to be like the labor and material are one price, right? You can't really fact check that as much, right? But the name brand items, the bolt-ons, are things that you can go look at anywhere, right? So as you start looking at, as an example, vehicles, a truck frame, you don't know what it costs to build that truck frame. They can mark up the truck frame anywhere they want, right? But when it comes to those fuel rims, they show this lower price than everybody else, right? Well, look, they're giving me a better deal. I'm only paying $600 for those rims. They're normally $900.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's their marketing tactic. They want you to see the stuff, it's deception. They want you to see the stuff that you think you can fact check, but you don't realize you're paying for those fuel rims actually on the truck. You're paying for it because they marked up the base price.
Right.
And that's the downfall there, is that as those things start to happen, the consumers start to, think they're getting a better deal because the guy's charging them less for the rims. They don't realize that if you didn't buy those rims, you still paid for those rims partially. Like, there's companies out there that do that to you, and they try to fool you that, yeah, our spindle's cheaper than their spindle, or our laser system is cheaper than their laser by a few $100s.
And it does the same thing.
It does the same thing. Well, guess what? You paid for it somewhere else. Nobody just sells a product cheaper. Nobody. It doesn't just happen. You don't just sell something cheaper. You gave up something somewhere, whether it's service, whether it's, performance, whether it's longevity. You gave something up somewhere. And that's the thing, that's marketing is, to the customer, a low price is what catches their eye, right? That's what gets them to start looking at things, but they don't realize they're paying for it in material costs and labor. They don't realize they're paying for these other things somewhere else. No. The company's making their margin somewhere else. And that to me is where it's at, when you look at it, what can you do with your marketing to improve your business? That's what you should be thinking about. Like, what can you do with your marketing to improve your business? That's what I always look at when I'm marketing. What can I do to show off what we're doing? My thing is truth in marketing will always excel over deception in marketing. I will always choose truth over deception.
I think that goes a long way.
Yeah. I mean, there's just no reason not to be. I want to be honest. I want to be transparent. I mean, that's why I do so many videos, right? I have videos galore. I wouldn't do videos if I didn't want to be transparent, if I didn't want to help educate people, right?
Right.
That's part of why we do what we do. Those who tend to show you more in marketing tend to have less smoke and mirrors, right? We're showing you it. We have nothing to hide. We don't care to hide it. We want you to see it because if the facts don't sell my machine, I'm going to be honest, I don't want you buying my machine.
Right.
That's how it's always been. We've always said that. The facts should sell our equipment. If you're not going to buy on the facts, then you're not going to buy our equipment.
Well, and I've always appreciated the honesty. I mean, when I started out, every company told me, every other company I talked to, you have to have a drill bank. You do cabinets. You have to have one.
Yep.
And we've done, you're the only one that, that was back when you were the only sales guy.
Yeah, I was saying, that was a long time ago.
But you're the only one that said, do you really need one? I mean, how much are you cutting?
Yep.
And we've done the numbers. It's like maybe a 2-minute difference on a sheet.
Yep.
With having a drill bank and not having one on a standard set of cabinets.
Yep.
Well, that saved me $10,000 right there. Yeah. That we were able to invest into, a new machine.
Yeah. Well, that's the crazy thing. Now it's even less time because obviously when we first talked, it was 10 years ago.
That was a lot slower machine.
Yeah, say a lot slower machine. Nowadays, we did the time study just recently again, and 11 sheets of material with a drill bank versus without a drill bank was 4.5 minutes difference.
Yeah.
11 sheets for 10 grand. It's not worth it.
No.
And that's where I tell people, it still happens to this day.
Unless that's running, 16 hours a day or something.
Yeah, and you still get it a lot today where people are like, oh, you got to have the drill bank. Like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
Tell that sales guy to go back to the 80s because it doesn't happen anymore. The programming in today's world is so much more advanced with CNC machines and the machine's quickness and the machine's ability to do things and be versatile. It's taken away the need to put those type of options on a machine regularly. Don't get me wrong. That definitely sounds like something broke up there.
Something fell over.
Something fell over.
Woke me up.
I saw that. You were sleeping there.
You haven't had your coffee yet.
I need it.
But, it's, but that's the thing is that is marketing 101 right there.
Yeah.
You got to have the drill bank. You better get it. It's because they want to sell you a $10,000 option, not because you actually need it.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to tell you the truth. It might not sell me a $10,000 option, but I would rather build a customer long term that trusts us than to lie to you to make $10,000 once, right? If I sell you something and you're not going to use it, you're probably not going to come back to me for the next round of whatever you need.
Yeah,
Or you-
and that's, when guys call me and ask me, that's one of the things I tell them
Yep.
is that machine going to run at least 40 hours a week? In most cases, it's not. For most guys starting out, it's not.
Correct.
So at least until you get that, why worry about it?
Yeah. But the other thing, and I'm going to put it out there. I mean, and I'll just say it. Remember, though, cheap people buy cheap products, right?
Yeah.
You got to know your value. And I say that because in your business, as you start marketing, market who you are. Your clients are not afraid to pay for quality. 99% of people are not afraid to pay for it. They have to see that quality. They have to see that value. And the difference is know your value and don't sell yourself short, because your clients are willing to go pay full price for Jordans. Your clients are willing to go pay full price for that Coach bag, right? They're willing to pay full price for that Mercedes-Benz. They're going to go pay for that Tesla. They're going to pay for whatever the product is. They'll pay for it full price.
Right.
Apple phones. How many of your clients walk around with an Apple phone in their pocket? You know what I'm saying? Like, they have these products that they paid full price for. Why won't they pay full price for your product?
Deception and marketing.
Correct, exactly. Deception and marketing. They think they're getting it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks they're getting an iPhone from anybody else besides iPhone, right?
Now, the
From
guy who
Apple.
doesn't, though, is the one who bought it once and
Yeah.
realized, now I got to spend more money to buy it again.
Correct.
Because this didn't work.
Yeah, but that's exactly the point, is that, like, when you buy a product, a name brand, Android example, again, you can buy multiple different Androids,
Yeah.
but you're not getting the same Android with every single one of those, right? You're getting a different phone each time. It's a different brand. But with Apple, if you want an Apple, it's Apple. There's no knockoff apples. You either buy an Apple or you don't buy an Apple. I think that kind of is how you have to look at it. When you start looking at that kind of stuff, a Tesla. There's multiple kinds of electric cars you can buy out there, but there's only one Tesla.
Right.
There's only one brand there. Like, you're not buying a knockoff Tesla. It's that same thing. You have to become that brand. You have to be willing to be that brand and say, you know what? We're a premium product. We do things differently. Yes, you can go buy cheaper products. If that's what you want, buy cheap products. But you'll be coming back to us. Your marketing should be about you, who you are, who you've become, who you're going to become, not about who your competitor is. So, market to the clients you want. Don't be afraid to walk away from the bad business. You might not want every piece of business out there. You don't want the cheap business, right? That's fine. But if you want the cheap business, then you need to develop a business plan around that. But don't deceive people to get business, is my opinion.
I couldn't agree more.
So that's my opinion of this topic. I mean, I think we've kind of beat this one to death today. But, I think that, if you improve your marketing, you're going to improve your business. I really do believe that. Right now, the world needs, a lot of focus on quality products. I think that the more we start to focus on quality products, the better the world will become.
The value of marketing, I'd say, is higher now than ever.
I 100% agree with that.
I mean, even look at the Super Bowl. Companies don't pay millions of dollars for it not to work. Marketing obviously works.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And, again, you got to draw attention to your ad, to yourself. Show what you're doing, not what other people are doing. Show your customers what they need to see. Show them what they need to see about you. Right?
Right?
Good.
ShopSabre.com.
There we go. I was just going to say, where can we go see some more about this? ShopSabre.com. But yeah, no, exactly. There's a lot of stuff going on. And obviously, Sean, I appreciate you joining us today.
You bet.
We got a lot going on in the building today. Sean and Bob are finishing up River Run table, correct?
Yeah. Fun project.
Boy,
Yes.
does that thing look good.
It does look good. So I'm pretty excited about that. I know we got a lot of cutting today. We're also going to do a dovetail drawer video.
Yep.
Is that right?
Dovetail drawers with KCD.
Pretty excited about that project as well.
Yeah.
We got kind of a cool thing we're going to show off in that project that we won't tell everybody about, but kind of a unique thing that's going to make these dovetail drawers a little different than normal.
Yeah.
Sounds like we better get to it.
We should get to that, shouldn't we?
We should.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Sean.
Thanks for talking shop with ShopSabre.